So this is the Fallow Deer. Got it all traced out on the watercolour paper. And we're going to, instead of starting with the animal, we're going to start with the background because it's got very white area here, or light. So we're going to start with, we're going to basically use the negative space instead of actually painting the animal. So I'm going to, and then we'll start into painting the animal's back afterwards. So I'm starting with the green. I'm going to go into the light. So I'm going to paint the light tones in the lightest green. Then I'm going to go for a mid green and maybe wash in some dark sections. So I'm starting that way, and then I'll start painting the deer. So here's your, I've exaggerated the colour to sort of brighten things up a little bit. And so, you know, you can stylise things as you go along. It doesn't have to be really photographic. It's a suggestion of what you're, oh damn, I made a mark on the paper. So it's a suggestion of what your images, or your interpretation of it is what I'm saying. Okay, so I just want it to be a little bit more lively colour wise. Okay, so get that in there. Similar colour around its feet. So these are sort of highlights where the sun has obviously come through and just hit those brighter bits of grass. Then I'm going to get the mid green and then put that over it with a big brush and try to get rid of that mark that I've made, which I probably won't be able to get out. It's kind of annoying. Maybe that'll go away when I paint on top of it. Yeah, that's probably not big enough, that brush. So I'm going to get a bigger one. Where's my brushes? So I'm going to get a flatter brush. Probably need to make a bit more of that paint, actually is not quite enough. Let's make a little bit more up. So when we're doing a wash, I don't necessarily want to make it like really flat. I just want to make sure I've got plenty of paint on there, but you can just vary the colour as you're going through. So I'm going to take it to a point, okay, and then I'm going to get a smaller brush and just go up to the edge. We've got to work fast, obviously it's going to dry out pretty quick. So that's one side. Okay, it's looking a bit horizontal, so I'm just messing it up a bit. Okay, design probably is going in frames, so it doesn't really matter what you do over here, just getting a background. Okay, so get the bulk of the background painted in. And then while it's still wet, we're going to go around the edge and tidy it up a little bit. So this is the sort of thing I want. I want this variation in tone. Don't want it to look really flat. Okay, so there's the bulk of it in. Right, now I'm going to get another brush, middle-sized brush probably. And just tidy up those, to bring it to the edge there. Now, some of you might like working with masking fluid. I don't really like masking fluid that much. I prefer to do this. But if you do want to work with masking fluid, then you mask out your legs, and paint it across. But I don't really like getting masking fluid off, especially when it's a large area. It's okay for small bits, tiny little dots and things and highlights, but I don't really like using it on a big area. But that's just me. So maybe on another little video bit I'll show you how you can use your masking fluid if you want to. But you see, you didn't really need to do it on this, did we? Okay, Okay, so to me, see, I like this. This is good. This is what we want. We want it to sort of dry in texture and a bit of interest. It'll all be quite different. And that will just make a really nice sort of abstract. So it's a suggestion of the grass. And then we'll put all our detail on the deer as a real contrast to the simplicity of this background. Okay, so there's that bit of light again, so I'm just going to go around the edge of the light bit, so the light bit does look light. Okay, so take it to the edge. Okay, so I'm not going to use a hairdryer on this. I think it will make the edges look a little bit too sharp. I want to let this happen how it happens, which is better to let it dry naturally if that's the case. Just see what happens with the... So what's happening is the paint is pushing other paint away and creating this, and we don't always want this, but I just like this effect. It's very suggestive as a background. You're not focusing on this. This is just an abstraction really, and all our focus is actually going to ultimately be on the deer. We won't be looking so much at this. It's just a little backdrop to it all. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that and see how it dries.